Hey yo, what's up Simviators? We're in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 for another PMDG 737-800 tutorial. We're going to take a look at the zone templates, why they show up, what it means, and how to keep them from triggering the master caution on the recall check right before we taxi. Let's jump into the cockpit and I'll break down what's actually going on and show you what you need to know to have the best chance to avoid it and keep your passengers cool. It usually comes down to how you're managing pack air and temperature control, especially on the hot days. The temperature sensors located downstream of the packs and mixed manifold detect an overheat condition from the air coming in via the ducts. When the air is above 88 degrees for that zone, the trim air modulating valve will close to stop extremely hot air entering the cockpit and cabin. The trim air also has an overheat protection of 71 degrees, and if reached, the trip valve will close to stop the ducts and packs from being damaged. Both of these can be reset after the duct has cooled by pressing the trip reset button. Both overheat protections monitor different parts of the air system, so you could have both systems fail. The trim air also gives false warnings, and in the real plane, Boeing even put out an FCOM bulletin titled Nuisance Zone Temp Light Illuminations. So let's break down ways we can avoid all this step by step. So we've got our battery on, ground power connected, and since it's 38 degrees outside, the first thing we need is the preconditioned air cart to cool down the plane. Before the PCA card is connected, make sure that the packs are off. If they are left on, we can damage the packs while the card is connected. The isolation valve is in the open position. This connects the left and right pack together. There are several reasons why we want the isolation valve open on the ground, but we'll leave that for another time. Alright. We got the cart connected, air coming in, and now let's go up and check the air temp. We now have 21 degrees air that is flowing into our forward and aft cabin. And cont is control cabin, which means flight deck. Now if we check the cabin temp, it's 49 degrees, and this is going to take some time to cool down as we're pretty much using air conditioning with the doors open. So we'll fast forward this and watch it come down. Alright. We're all loaded up about 5 minutes before pushback, so let's turn on the APU so we can get rid of the PCA cart and the GPU. When the blue APU Gen off bus light appears, we'll time 2 minutes before you use the bleed air so that we don't damage the APU. We can turn on the fuel pump and start our clock. Let's head back up to the overhead and transfer the electrical load to the APU. There's no time limit when transferring the electrical load to the APU, so connect it straight away. Turn off the GPU power and switch the APU gen. And while we wait for the 2 minutes to go by, let's get rid of the PCA cart, because remember, we can't operate the packs with it connected, and let's get rid of our GPU as well. Now that the card is gone and 2 minutes is up, we can clear the clock, head up to our packs. First is the right pack auto, isolation valve open, and the left pack auto, and then the bleed can come on. Also, if you operate the packs on high, it's going to reduce the ventilation by 15% and burns more fuel, so keep them on auto. Now we're ready for pushback. So make sure you leave your packs on until the very last second before starting your engines, so that the cool air isn't turned off. We'll start up engine 2 just like normal, and once it's stabilized, we can turn isolation valve to close and the right pack to auto. And now we have our cool air flowing back into the cabin for the passengers from the number 2 engine bleed, but not into the flight deck. Left pack cockpit, right pack cabin. Got our duct pressure stabilized, and we can start up engine 1. Alright, engine number 1 stabilized with the 2, 4, 6, 3 no EGT parameters. So now let's turn on the isolation valve to auto, and then we'll set up and do the before taxi flows like normal. And then we'll come down here, and then we'll do our recall check, and as you can see, there's no air conditioning master caution, and also no zone temp lights illuminated up here. Alright Simviators, that's how you stay one step ahead of those zone temp lights and keep your passengers from roasting. If this helped you out, drop a like, it really supports the channel. And if you've got any other PMD issues you want covered, hit me up in the comments, I can help you out with anything. And if you aren't on board already, hit the subscribe button for more videos, tutorials and real world flight op live streams. And I'll catch you on the next one. Hooroo!